It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to talk about Bernie Sanders, who is the Lord and Savior of a lot of people, or they thought he was. Maybe some people have woke up by now because he conned y'all 2 election cycles in a row, twice. I mean, back to back, no refunds, bro. Back to back, no refunds. Like the fact that he's able to present himself as, oh, I'm different, I'm not part of this establishment, and then every time he just buck dances for them. In the event that he doesn't win, even if they have to screw him over in the process, he doesn't care. It's almost as if his only reason for existing is to pull those people into the Democratic Party who think that the Democratic Party, or they're like kind of flaky on it and want something different. Either way, he's a quack. His ideas are dangerous. Historically, they've been dangerous, and all of that giving a fuck, acting like he cares about people is the most dangerous part of this guy, because what he does is he packages his authoritarianism with kind of these fraud humanitarian efforts. The best socialists should do that, and they've historically done that. But perhaps where he's most dangerous, I guess, here is guys like him, the champagne socialists that work for the government, is that they think that continuing down this economic path that the country is on, that the government has been facilitating, is something that is sustainable and is not going to have any kickback. It's even more frustrating that a lot of these guys are Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is at least 117 years old. I'm not exactly sure, but let's just say he's not going to be around once this shit hits the fan. This is something that guys like myself, kind of younger cats like myself, as well as obviously generations like that come after me, those guys are going to be dealing with issues pertaining to the way that the spending habits of the federal government, the regulatory practices of the federal government in that regard, and it's gonna get us in a fucking lot of trouble, right? That's perhaps his most dangerous thing, how these guys can throw these big numbers out. We're gonna look at an example right here. Big numbers out as if it's just nothing. And what he said is perhaps the most scariest part of it. So, again, reading from the Blaze, outspoken socialist Bernie Sanders lamented this week all the talk about the numbers and process surrounding the Biden administration's mammoth $6 trillion budget proposal, which is like the fact that trillions of dollars, people have become so numb about that, is insane to me. But this is what he has to say, and I don't know how long this video is.
Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, is the chairman of the powerful Senate budget.
I'm not going to listen to that because we have the text right here. I don't want to listen to the entire interview. He was talking with Chris Hayes. This is what he has to say. Obviously, for you guys that don't know about this new budget proposal, we've been talking about it on the News of Why It Matters over at Blaze TV. And how, basically it's adding all of these people to the welfare state. I mean, on the upward of maybe 21 more million people basically on some sort of welfare statism. And of course, they right here, it's the same old thing. We're the richest country in the world, but we don't pay for this, and that because a country doesn't even seem to connect the dots on why a country is wealthy. But he thinks that because the country is wealthy, the state should be playing people's moms and dads, which is, again, dangerous. Is going to inevitably make it more expensive in terms of its overall cost. There's nothing that the government does. It's not a producer. So it's nothing that it can do that is going to, let's say, necessarily be cheaper than what it was had it been left up completely to the market. Actually, when it comes to the inflated costs of a lot of different things, particularly when we deal with medicine, the government, I think people seem to forget. This is what kills me about these people that want free, for example, with two industries, college, so higher education. They want free college, and they also want free, let's say, healthcare and stuff like that. Not seeming to understanding that both of those industries are they are the two most regulated industries in this fucking country. They are not freer markets. Definitely when it comes to medicine, consider patent laws and all sorts of crooked stuff. When you're dealing with pharmaceutical companies, where people would make, the other companies would be willing to make something, whether it be a drug, at not even half the cost, talking a fraction of the cost, yet they can't because it's illegal. Because of the government protected monopoly, They don't talk about that. It's always, well, government created a problem, therefore government must create the solution. And the solution is always government taking entire control of the entire market and then basically distributing it among its people. But what was the scariest thing about what he said is right here. He says, let me tell you what I think most economists would agree with. And that is, at a time when we have record-breaking low interest rates, now is precisely the time to borrow and invest in one-time infrastructure projects. Now, I say that, and again, that concept flies over a lot of people here when you talk about this man just up and said that because, Federal Reserve, low interest rates, they should basically be fine with continuing to borrow in the capacity that they do. Let me show y'all something real quick, just because I think a lot of people forget what the fuck situation we're in. You see all this fucking red right here? Going right back to that. You see all this red? Are y'all looking at that? This is where the state of where the country is at. Almost $30 trillion worth of debt. The government continues to spend because, again, that's what the Federal Reserve does, as well as in the combination with the Treasury. It allows them to essentially monetize their debt and spend money that they don't have. This is why the federal deficit is what it is, where they get to spend so much more than what they have, which is stolen from the current people. But what they don't have is then stolen from the current from future generations. And this is what I've been trying to get to the base that just simply doesn't understand that. Like, there are a lot of stupid people in this world, right? And unfortunately, a lot of these stupid people get to vote. And this is why democracy is an objectively bad thing. But a lot of stupid people, they can't perceive, like, they're economically illiterate. So any event that you say, okay, I am going to give you free something, they're almost always going to take it. The consequences be damned, they don't care. They think the government has this, though they act like it, though they don't technically, but an endless amount of money, and there's no impact economically in terms of them printing money out of fucking thin air and in combination with spending money that isn't there. So you got a double whammy, right? You're printing the money and you're spending the money. So increasing the money supply effectively devaluing that shit so your money don't stretch as long. You want to understand why inflation is the way that it is, and then it's going in the direction that it's going. I don't know, libertarians have been trying to tell you this for a very long time, but you assholes didn't listen because you're so concerned with owning the libs. Not understanding that even people with R's next to their name are fucking socialists. I'd argue your last president was, but that really rubbed some of y'all the wrong way. Because your beloved Trump was goddamn terrible on spending all of that shit that would cross his table in regards to these spending bills, trillions of dollars, including when it came to the COVID thing. He signed off on virtually all of that shit. So he just as guilty. This is not something that is sustainable, but they aren't going to feel the consequences. Why the guys like Bernie Sanders, number one, ain't going to be around that long. Number two, if they work for the government, they can just vote to get themselves raised. It's no big deal. Meanwhile, your money don't stretch as long. This economic illiteracy is unforgiving. Like this is criminal what it is that they're doing. The fact that there are people in office that are doing this, but unfortunately, because the way the kind of government is set up, it's very difficult to combat that unless you're focusing on decentralization, but you're not going to get it by basically playing fair with these assholes, because as long as they promise stupid people that they'll give them something for free, and because they think the government has just endless supply of fucking money and there's going to be no economic kickback, they're going to sign off on it. Oh, you're going to give me that? We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. They're going to take it every single time. And that's the base that these weirdos are appealing to. That's all I'm saying. Bernie Sanders is crazy as all hell, but he's scary as well, because the way a lot of their authoritarian efforts get to pass where you just become so numb to the idea of $6 trillion fucking dollars. Do y'all understand how much fucking money that is? And there are people that are just perfectly fine with that on both sides of the aisle when it comes to the political sphere. Actually, it's not really on both sides of the aisle. They're on the same aisle. Let's say that. There is no other side of the aisle. There's some outliers here and there. Bernie Sanders ain't one of them. He on the same side. But they look at it like, well, this base will support me in the event that I give them all of these false promises. And they're too stupid to realize that they're hurting themselves in the process. That I just described basically this entire country's voter base. This is just a reality. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.